Not pulling a single one of you, dude. Not right now, at least. Bro, why'd they make this like Hans Zimmer
Hey Hasan, we know you're going to react to this video, so we want to invite you to be in an episode of Middle Ground.
This is crazy! I can't believe they did this, dude. I can't. They broke the fourth wall. You're not supposed to do this.
Be a one-on-one discussion with someone like Ben Shapiro, so it'll be great if you can announce your participation here first, and we can get Ben's attention. For now, enjoy the video.
Hasan Piker versus Ben Shapiro in an episode
like
of Middle Ground. I mean, I'm fucking down, but like, I doubt that he would do it.
I want to be able to introduce all ways of life.
Yes.
So would it be okay to include a book with a man having a relationship with a 12-year-old in that book? I know it's extreme.
No,
Hold on, but just hear me out.
Because now
Hear
you're
me out.
equivocating gay people to pedophiles.
Our boys in this. We got a HasanAbi hit in this.
No, this is why I'm bringing it up, is who establishes the boundary?
The law.
That's our guy.
Teachers have their own political agendas. Step forward if you agree.
I'm so down to debate Ben Shapiro. I just don't think he would ever do it. You know what I mean?
I think it's important to recognize that individuals will have political agendas. It's a natural thing, and people should understand their political views. I think where we need to differentiate it is whether a teacher should have a political agenda in a classroom.
But is your idea of a political agenda like these teachers telling students, this is who you should vote for, if you vote for these people, it's wrong.
Yes,
if you vote for
or
these people, it's right.
ridiculing the beliefs that they may have for political or religious reasons, and using their position of authority to mold the minds of everyone else.
When it comes to diversity or these new sort of terms, I am not for certain types of what so-called diversity when it comes to these new kind of topics. And
Can you expand upon that? Like, what do you think
like
shouldn't be
critical
included?
race theory or some of the...
Bro, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy. These new topics like racism, okay? Topics like history, black history from the perspective of a black person. The concept is something you can apply to everything, dude. It is literally, you're upset at the fundamentals at that point. If you're saying, I don't like the idea of children's minds being molded by random strangers, you're not upset at liberalism. You're upset at the concept of teaching. It's literally like a fucking stupid person saying, oh, how do you know that? You didn't experience it personally. It's like, yeah, dude, you're literally defining how education works. You're talking about foundational principles. You're talking about how people fucking learn, okay? You didn't fucking experience everything. You didn't invent the wheel. Someone else did. You're just taking advantage of it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid when people do this. It's like, oh, I don't like the concept. Like, it's a fundamentally flawed perspective, okay? Unless you are quite literally anti-learning, okay? Unless you're quite literally anti-teaching and anti-learning, which is going against humanity and the human condition, I don't know what to tell you, okay? It's nuts. I hate it. I'm yelling because it pisses me off. The stupidity of this shit pisses me off. It's like Republicans talking about, funding government programs. It's like, bro, you just don't want any taxes. You think all taxes are you think all taxes are fraudulent then, okay? Like the way that this is not how the world works.
Gender ideologies. It's not diverse if you're the teacher, the person of authority in the classroom, and you are saying this is how something should be.
Yeah, so I come from an elementary perspective. I'm a first grade teacher, so the conversations we're having in class isn't about the socioeconomic nature of the world. But, we do talk about just what it looks like for different people in different communities.
Typical Bernie bro, writing off a black woman's argument before she even finishes it. Yeah, of course, dude. I'm freaking racist and misogynistic. Misogynoir is what I'm doing here. Misogynoir is when you criticize a conservative parent's idiotic fucking perspective on the concept of teaching.
So when I talk about a political agenda, the agenda that I have in the classroom is to create an environment where folks are able to, better understand from
Mason is the
wherever
HasanAbi
someone is
head.
coming from.
The problem with
boy.
that, and I understand the sentiment as a teacher, if a child is sitting there and they happen to be black and you're saying, well, black people such and such and such. I mean, you're really, that's not okay.
I do have to stop you there because that's not really said. It's not said black people do this.
Well,
it's not said
it's just an
Mexicans do
example.
this. Again, it's trying to understand from multiple perspectives. That's not saying that every group aligns on the same thought. That's not saying every group is a monolith. What it's saying is, even if you disagree with somebody or you come from a different tradition or a different cultural background, those people's opinions can still be valid.
And the disagree, step forward.
What does it
I'll
take
be
to
honest,
get
as a
recognized as a
teacher-
said HasanAbi head? Mason had a legendary fucking run, dude. What are you talking about? He went on a like fake libertarian, like, what was it, like a box one? I think he was like one fake libertarian or one fake conservative. And then he literally turned around and duped everyone, including myself. And the reveal was legendary because he said, my favorite conservatives. Yeah, he 1v4'd. Like, it was crazy. The anti-vax episode, that's what it was. Oh, yeah, he made himself come across like an anti-vaxxer. It was so good. And then he just drops out of nowhere in the middle of it like, oh, here's the moment.
Like Dr. Robert Malone, Hank Pecker, there's a lot of different streamers and media outlets that I think do push a more like, you should be able to choose what you want.
Oh! Are you fucking joking? He said Hank Pecker, bro. He said my favorite like conservative podcasters and streamers is like Hank Pecker. Oh, dude, he's so good. He's so fucking good. Like, he was so good, he duped me. And like it pissed me off a little bit, okay? Like, he fucked me up, dude. When you're so good at doing conservative talking points that you even got me, Hank Pecker, duped, is fucked up.
Sure, especially after COVID and all of that, I don't have time for a political agenda. I'm here trying to catch up with curriculum, pick up my readers that are, 2-3 grade levels behind. I do not have time for that. I teach social emotional skills and all of that, but I'm not here to kind of, you need to believe this, and that. No. If you're a good person, we're good. We're gravy. All good. You know what I mean?
But your definition, and sometimes this can happen and it becomes political, is what is your definition of a good person? Would you think that I'm a good person because I'm raising my kids to be with Judeo?
Dude, only a conservative would say, oh, you're making your definition of what it means to be a good person. No one on the planet is like, actually being a good person is a political concept, okay? The only people that say this are conservatives. I've never heard a liberal go, fucking, actually, like, being a good person is subjective. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. You just know that your fucking worldview is, like, designed around hatred and some of your core principles, which, by the way, goes for liberals, too, especially when you talk about, like, economic subjects. But, like, your worldview unironically revolves around, like, going against like fundamental principles that we teach our children at an early age by calling it socialism or communism. Like, sharing is caring, okay? Like, you have rewired your brain into thinking that is a bad thing. Like, right off the jump, you're like, oh, LaFontaine, don't read that shit, brother. You fucking kidding me? I don't read that French garbage. That's communism, brother. Sharing is caring. Get the fuck out of here. Sharing is communism. You know? That's it. That's literally a fundamental principle instilled upon people from an early age. Peace is good, okay? Let peace lead the way. Love is love, okay? These are all concepts that are antithetical to the conservative project, okay? That's why they lose their fucking shit. That's why they're like, well, actually, let's argue about the ethics behind whether or not, you're actually a moral person. Let's argue about whether or not, good and let's argue about good and evil. It's like, no, dude. They just mean like be nice, you know, be kind to others, be nice. Like those sorts of fucking values are good. But you have been brain broken, which is precisely the reason why you think be nice is a political subject.
Judeo-Christian values, and they live in a heteronormative home where we talk about how divorce is wrong, cheating is wrong. We have friends of the LGBT community, but we teach our children that from a biblical perspective, that's not okay. Your definition of whether or not they are good could be very different than my definition of whether or not they are good.
Yeah, because you're a bad person. You're a fucking freak. You're a freakazoid, dude. Holy shit. You know, your concept of good and mine can be so wrong it's just like, it's insane. No liberal is like, that's the main difference. You want to know what the main difference is? No fucking progressive, liberal, whatever parent is teaching their children that it's bad to be straight. Okay? That's a you thing, dog. You are the problem. That's why you have an issue with what it means to be good. Because deep down inside, you kind of understand, like, you have that core value instilled in you because you're a human being. And it's like kind of at the fundamental building block of living in a society, which is that, you know, there is parts collectivism and parts individualism in there. And you have been so brain broken into thinking that like collective action is completely devoid in modern society building that you don't even want to think about it. You're like, no, it's actually sharing is caring is bad. And good and evil are actually concepts that are up to the individual, and that like the other side is actually bad. We should teach our children to not be gay. Okay? It's so stupid. No gay parent is like, hey, by the way, if you want to fuck like, you know, the members of the opposite sex, like you can't do that. That's not a thing. You're the only dumbass doing it. That's actually funny. That would be a funny sketch if it's like gay parents. If they were like conservative fucking heteronormative parents, how they would educate their children.
To kind of clarify, in my classroom, if they're kind and they're not bashing anybody, judging anybody, kind of throwing out names, anything like that, they're good. It's not to say that topics like that don't come up in class. And I do open it up to discussion. I just keep it clear that this is a safe space. We don't judge each other. We're not going to bash each other.
It's going to be Austin. No, Austin is way too... Unironically, Austin is so fucking straight-coded, he wouldn't even be able to do that.
Understand you have your own experiences, but we're not going to come in with an agenda, you can say. And I feel like this idea of parents and their teachers of their political biases and all of this is just all of this fear that is clouding their judgment, clouding...
Except we have numerous, not just...
We have experiences.
My own child, first week of school, what pronouns you wanted to go by? I mean, not what's your favorite subject, how can I help you succeed academically?
Who's to say that wasn't a part of the questions too, you know? And understand that question could stand out.
So maybe you don't understand that you're teaching politics.
But that's not politics. That's just like basic respect. Yeah.
I think that's beautiful.
But it's not true.
That's beautiful.
Not to me.
So I think you need your idea that that's basic respect. What is the framework of that? Because I think that many teachers are going through these trainings, and the trainings are saying this is the framework of how we operate in the classroom. But where did that idea come from?
Because it's based off. It's called a thing called data.
Did you do that?
No, hold on. A lot of schools have research and development, and so the state also does. So in the state of California, we do research. So at the end of the day, my job is not just to make your kid to feel comfortable. I got 55 students. I got to make 55 students feel comfortable.
Own their asses. So they're fraudulent. Own them. Own their asses. I got to say something here, by the way. Okay. Conservatives love talking about how big, brave boys and girls they are until pronouns come in. And then they're like, wow. Holy shit, their brains break immediately. They're like, whoa, pronouns? That's fucked up. It's like, why? Why is that fucked up? You have pronouns, idiot. Everybody has pronouns. Like, what the fuck kind of dumb take is that? They're unironically advocating for gender abolition. They're like, no pronouns. That's not real. I hate that. I don't want pronouns.
Kid comes home and tells you, well, Mom, the teacher said, what's my pronouns? Yeah, I did say, what's your pronoun? I also said, what's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite food? I am a college.
That's unacceptable. These libtard teachers are asking our children what their favorite TV shows are. It's fucked up. It's Fox News, Tucker Carlson. That's what. You better not be asking my child what their favorite TV show is. How about you, an adult male, talking to a child, teaching them, indoctrinating them? That's fucked up. It's like, yeah, dude, you just described the concept of going to a school. I don't want my government to have a number associated with me. You mean to tell me that the government is going to put a number on my name that identifies me, that makes me fucking pay taxes? What the fuck kind of bullshit fascist communist China nonsense is that? Bet they want to sell that to us by giving us a funny name, you know, Social Security. Ah, security, it's right there in the name. Don't fall for it. More like socialism security. More like socialism insecurity. Am I right, brother? They're coming after you. One of my favorite fucking concepts on the planet is like stupid conservatives describe normal government functions, but in a scary way because they don't understand how it works and they don't even understand that they're a part of it. They're a part of that fucking design. They're part of that system. They've been living under it for a very long time, but then they describe it in a scary way. They did this so much with like the vaccines, right? They're like, oh, yeah, that's right. Scientists that went to school to learn about homosexual gender Marxism get together and wear lab coats and test shit on animals. Okay? That's unacceptable. That's crazy. They're testing stuff on animals and then they're giving vaccines to those animals. I'll tell you what. Not putting that shit in my body.
College professor now. I was previously a 3rd, 4th grade teacher. Teaching 3rd and 4th grade was horrible. Dealing with parents who thought their child was special and should be treated a certain way. It just wasn't doable. The constant complaining, the accusing people of doing things that are not going on in our classes, not being enough for their child. It was just too much. When parents don't have the knowledge of what goes on inside of a school, I think it's important for those parents to go to the school. And we as educators like our parents to be involved. You know, again, I have too many
Be careful what you wish for, my man. Oh, no.
Students to push an agenda. I do my job, what they pay me to do.
Discussion about sexuality doesn't belong in schools.
It's like, bro, they're teachers, dog. They teach. Like every aspect of human existence is being taught in schools. Like you don't get to pick and choose that. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a crazy fucking concept. Holy shit, dude. Like you can't, you're just anti-sex ed. Like that's wild. Sex education, okay, has well, and I'm talking about non-abstinence only sex education because some states do offer sex ed, but it's just abstinence only. Outside of abstinence only sex education, states that actually do offer sex ed demonstrably have positive impacts on curbing back teenage pregnancies and child pregnancies. Isn't that crazy? That's wild that if you look at a fucking map of states that don't allow sex ed, and then you look at teenage pregnancies, it's almost like there's a correlation there.
I had a sex ed class when I was in 3rd grade, and it was quite simple. Boys go in this room, girls go in this room, they play a little video on a black and white TV. You know, you see the genitalia, and you're like, oh God, I got one of those, cool, now we're figuring out what I am. The fear is these schools have no...
Bro, this is also another hilarious part of like new age conservatism is that like a dude that looks like this, bro, if you look like a Horizon Zero Dawn character, like it's breaking my brain. You know what I mean? Like I expect you not to be conservative. Okay. Like I just immediately, my assumption is like, you're not going to be a conservative person. And now every bike messenger looking motherfucker is like, I'm conservative actually. Okay. It's crazy. QAnon has like broke so many crunchy granola motherfuckers' asses, dude. Like if you look like you're coming back from Burning Man, do not tell me about like, you know, gender binaries, dude.
boundaries. If they do the classroom thing where they want to split kids up, how many genders are we going to do this? We're going to put boys, them, and then girls, and then how many rooms do we need to create for equality? Or are we really chasing equity? And I think parents now are beginning to realize we've got to stop this and create framework about sexuality, especially in a hyper-sexualized culture. My kids don't need to know at 6, 7, and 8 years old about different types of sexual acts. That's not appropriate.
People think
this is such a fucking dude. Why are they arguing over shit that doesn't happen in schools, man? It's like, bro, that's not happening. Like, your teacher is not teaching. Oh my God, dude. It's literally just made up. Like 80% of the conservative grievances are just made up. Okay? You're like, oh, where'd you hear that? Oh, the friend of mine's a teacher. And they told me. It's like, no, they didn't. You just saw that on a fucking Facebook post. And unfortunately, because of our like increasingly online existence, your brain has no way of distinguishing what you actually learned from your own personal account of a situation and what you saw on your Facebook timeline. It's crazy. Zero Dawn looking ass. Yeah. It's true.
think that this is just kind of happening. It's a one-off. It is in so many schools. Where I live in Florida, there was a poster going around where kids could text anonymous strangers to get information about sex. And on this poster in school, want to get laid?
Wow.
That's not true. That never happened, okay? And if it did happen, it was 100% some fucking pedophile libertarian. We're talking about Florida after all, okay? Jesus Christ, dude. This is the world. This is the world these brave parents are fighting
Papa
against.
says God hates breeders.
Imagine a world where being gay is the norm.
And they're all gonna burn in hell.
Well, can I kiss you just one last time? Please, I don't know when I'm ever going to get to kiss a boy again.
What are you doing? Get away from me!
Ian.
I don't know why she keeps touching me like this. I was just trying to be nice to her. I hate you, Ashley Curtis. Stay away from me.
That's the problem. You can't be nice to heteros. But you can always teach them a lesson. Grab her.
Wait, I don't get it. Like, is this pro or anti-gay? I'm not even kidding. Like, is this like anti-gay and they're saying if you normalize homosexuality, this is what's going to happen? Or is this pro-gay and they're saying like, you know, this is what you're doing to gay people? It's so poorly done that it could go both ways. Yes? Question mark? Both. It's both. It's whatever you make of it.
You can run your little row, but you won't get away. Come on, we're like Smear the Queer.
Yeah.
Bro, I have to watch this. I have to watch this from the jump. You're blind. It's not pro or anti-gay. They're just saying heteros are annoying. True. It's pro-gay. There's a suicide scene later in the vid. Okay, I'm definitely watching this from, like, I'm watching this. Not right now, though, because I want to finish this, and there's, like, 30 more minutes.
I mean, it's beyond, and there is a push for pleasure-based sex. Pleasure for who?
My oldest is 9 years old. She's in 3rd grade, and she's been exposed to.
what the fuck? Bro, what is she saying? Like, bro. That's not like, that's crazy. That's crazy. You're crazy. They're not teaching 9-year-olds how to fucking finger themselves, dude. What the fuck? I can't believe I even said that word. Like, conservatives are so fucking psychotic that, like, I'm, like, you're living in a universe where, like, even addressing the psychotic shit that you're saying is insane. It makes me look like an insane person. Fuck! It's literally the fucking, the pedophile defense brigade. You know what I mean? It's like there's something kind of weird about, like, pedophile hunters that are, like, obsessed with, like, presenting themselves as fucking children on the internet all the time. They'll, like, catch pedophiles and shit. It's like, after a while, you just become hysterical. You know what I mean? And that's what these conservatives have done to themselves.
Of things, and we do have conversations about it, but that's a conversation that I should be having with my 9-year-old daughter. If a 6th grader or a 4th grader is going to be prompted by a teacher, hey, what are your pronouns? As a parent, I should have a heads up about that, because they're not even going to understand the question. And so I think that the idea that those conversations are started in the classroom instead of in the home is a big problem. I have a family member who first day of 6th grade was at—
Dude, Michael, that's such a good fucking take. Holy shit. The kill your local pedophile rhetoric hits so hard for so many shitheads because it's like the one type of person who's worse than them. That's why the shit gets so dangerous so quickly. They truly think they're doing some heroic act. Yeah, that's right. When you're the most annoying person, when you're the most, like, mentally fucking stunted, mind-bogglingly evil dickhead in the fucking, in the little homeowners organization that you fucking live in, the one person that is, like, demonstrably worse than you is a pedophile. Okay? You're just a bad person, and then there's only one guy that's worse than you is a pedophile. That's why you, like, grab onto that.
asked for her pronouns.
That's a
and
great
she stood up
take.
and said that as a person of faith, she believed that God didn't make a mistake making her a girl, and so therefore she identified as a she, her, and she was sent to the principal's office and punished for that decision. Thankfully, we haven't seen that broadly yet, but I think it's really damaging to take a shy, innocent 11-year-old child and make them stand in front of a classroom and determine.
Wait, what? Who was punished for what?
So therefore she identified as a she, her, and she was sent to the principal's office.
What? There's no fucking way that someone was punished for saying they're she, her. They definitely said way more than that, okay? No, like, no 11-year-old is being punished for saying I'm she, her. They were like, you're not they, them. You're going to jail. They're going to jail.
Making was asked for her pronouns, and she stood up and said that as a person of faith, she believed that God didn't make a mistake making her a girl, and so therefore she identified as a.
She said God didn't make a mistake making her a girl. Even that in and of itself, like, is not enough, I don't think. Like, she definitely did some more shit than that. Like, yeah, she was being fucking cheeky as always, but, like, still, I'm sure there was way more than that before that was, like, the reason why.
She, her, and she was sent to the principal's office and punished for that decision. Thankfully, we haven't seen that broadly yet, but I think it's really damaging to take a shy, innocent 11-year-old child and make them stand in front of a classroom and determine something that they maybe haven't even put that much thought into.
Yeah, she hasn't put that much thought into it. She's just repeating what her fucking dumbass parents have said, most likely.
I like what you said, Sean, about how you were emphasizing, how a lot of parents today felt a goodness of the way that sexual education was conducted in the past. So there is an agreement that sexuality should be talked about in schools. The disagreement is whether it should just be purely heteronormative or if we should include all aspects of
Yeah,
sexuality.
Mason, get them.
I don't think that we're doing demonstrations to encourage children how to have sex, but this is something that we are trying to, again, educate and make them aware that this kind of things happen. And while you grow up, you're going to have to experience somebody who's of this orientation.
Kids are naturally curious, and I think that what I'm hearing from you is I understand where you're maybe potentially coming from, but then where's the line between that sex education and introducing them to porn? Because porn can be educational. I was a virgin when I got married, and
I sure would hate to learn that school was making my kids think about stuff they didn't normally think about. Yeah. Yeah, again, 41 minutes. The entire video revolves around that. Conservative argument for this is literally just, I'm actually anti-education, okay? That is exactly what every argument revolves around, a fundamental flaw, okay? One side is like, well, we have a job, which is to teach your children things that they didn't know about, okay? And then the other side's like, fuck that. That's actually fucked up. Don't do that. I don't want you to do that. Like, you don't have a problem. You have a problem with school. Like, you have a problem with the concept of learning. You have a problem with the concept of education. That's what you have a problem with.
for years I was made fun of and heard, well, how are you gonna know if you don't try it? We hear that a lot too. If you haven't tried to kiss a girl to see if you like it or not, then how do you really know that you're not a lesbian? How do you really know that you're not gay if you've never slept with a guy? How do you really know that you want to be in a monogamous relationship if you don't sleep around? And when you start to introduce those questions to children, specifically prepubescent ones, they're going to naturally be curious.
Bro, she's like, I have intrusive thoughts. I will tell you right now, I have intrusive thoughts. Sometimes I like to think about, okay? Sometimes I like to think about the pool boy. He is 19 years old, okay? And I don't like it. Sometimes I like to think about the librarian. She is very attractive. She got those round spectacles, and I think she makes me tingle in places I never thought about. It's like, what are you saying? What the fuck? You are literally against exploration because you want people to repress their feelings because of the fear, which is unreasonable if we think about the entire population, but certainly a reasonable fear for you that you might like it. Okay? That's crazy.
And their emotional and hormonal maturity is not there to be making those types of decisions that have lifelong impact.
Well, you're right, and a lot of them are learning at home because just like you guys are saying, they come home to tell you things. Well,
by the way, the other hilarious part about that argument is that, like, she is right technically, but not in the way that she thinks she is. If you repress your sexuality like that, yes, of course, sooner or later, it is going to lead to complications in your life. If you repress your sexuality without exploring it and figuring yourself out in a healthy way, yes, one porn please could like dramatically change your life. You're bust, okay? All of a sudden you're like, oh fuck. You know, I'm in a fucking marriage. I'm really unhappy. I just realized why I'm unhappy because, like, you know, I want to watch lesbian porn.
Guess what? Those same kids come to school and talk about what you're telling them at home. You'll be surprised what I hear from students when I do a what do you think? Well, let me tell you what my mama and daddy did. And look, I don't have time. Your kid is not that important to me, not to be rude. I got like 300 students. Your kid is no more important than the other 299. So I don't have time to sit up here and let me get you to think.
This is a really good take, by the way. Like highlighting how selfish conservative parents are. Remarkable take. 100% on point. It's great.
Like me, I can't
you know he's had to deal with a lot of parent-teacher conferences, by the way. Like that's coming from a place of a lot of experience.
My own 23-year-old to think like me. At the end of the day, what needs to happen, and this is just my own personal take, parents need to start being parents because a lot of times the teachers are the parents. They're parenting your kids because absentee parenting.
I think that this conversation is really interesting, and I think we need to step back and look at why we automatically assume that if we're telling our children about lesbians, gay people, queer people, why do we immediately equivocate that to telling them about what sex is? That can just be something as simple as, here is a book. In this book, there are two dads. This book character has two dads. And kids, they can be inquisitive, and that's good, right? But also, like, they're gonna be like, cool, there's two dads.
All these kids know that there's a dad and a dad and a mom and a mom, and the culture is teaching all of that. So what we've noticed is that the curriculum in 8th grade and up is a lot deeper than that. It's more like, here is how you can have sex so you do not get pregnant. Illustration of anal sex. That is the stuff that we're now reacting against, and that sadly is.
That's interesting. It's also like not happening, but that's cool. Here's how you can have sex without getting pregnant is like important to learn. As far as like anal sex or whatever the fuck they're talking about, I don't know where that's coming from, but I suspect it's probably left to either the imagination of these hallucinating parents, or if they're talking about that, they're most likely talking about it from like, other ways of other methods of having sex include or whatever. There's no, Lamel, the sex that we got was putting condom on a banana. Look, I don't know. I don't think that they're talking about anal sex in schools, but I don't know. And the reason why I don't know is because I didn't go to school here. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they teach in sex ed. Okay. We can't teach too much sex ed because we have to plan for the likely school shooting. They generally teach that anal sex is more dangerous here anyway. Yeah, they'll probably say like anal sex, it can happen, you can do it, but it's dangerous. It's more dangerous than vaginal intercourse, probably. They're talking about what kids can learn on Tumblr and not what they learn in schools. These parents can't differentiate. No, I used to teach sex ed, and they don't teach that here at all. These conservatives are crazy. In sex ed, I never learned alternative ways of having sex. They just taught us how to be safe during. Yeah, they just... Like, usually from what I understand, or from what I've seen, it's just like a banana and a fucking condom. Safe sex measures. Which is good. That's literally what you're supposed to learn. How to prevent STIs, things like that. That's it. Which is, you're going to learn that. You're going to need to learn that. It is demonstrably a positive thing to learn. It's like, it's so weird that we're so puritanical that like sex is categorized as like a broadly different thing. Like, motherfucker, at that point, they're learning about war. Can you imagine parents pulling up and being like, I can't believe they're teaching about World War I and II to our children. A lot of people died. I don't let them watch R-rated movies. Why are we letting them watch R-rated? Why are they learning about R-rated history? It's like, what the fuck?
Is the trust that's being broken between
This is one of the conservative parents.
Yeah, and I think we're moving into a conversation about comprehensive sex ed. What I am talking about is when I go into this classroom and I'm teaching kids, I'm not going to just teach kids material that is heteronormative.
Out of curiosity, it sounds like what you're saying is you want to be able to introduce all ways of life. Like these are the people that you will encounter with throughout life.
That is what I'm arguing, yes.
So would it be okay to include a book with a man having a relationship with a 12-year-old in that book? I know it's extreme.
No,
hold on, but just hear me out.
Because now
you're
Bro, there's a difference between pedophilia, which is not a victimless crime, and consensual homosexual relationships. I really thought that the Pastafarian bike messenger looking motherfucker would know the difference. This is the most libertarian self-report I've ever fucking seen in a conversation. Why do you always bring up pedo shit? Oh my God. They're crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy. They're crazy. They're so crazy.
likening gay people to pedophiles.
No, I'm not.
And no, that's not okay.
That is not.
You're drawing a line that I'm not drawing. And
you're definitely crossing a line.
I agree.
I
agree. And this is why I'm bringing it up: is who establishes the boundary?
The law.
But what law? The law.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good starting point. Also, morality could be a boundary there. I mean, he says the law, but also like,
The law is.
But the law that's been signed in some blue
No, I'm
states,
sorry. No, there's laws against between adults having sex with children. Now, if a student had two parents who happen to be of the same sex, I'm not going to sit there and discount who they are in my class. I cannot do that. I signed a contract.
I would never ask anybody to uplift or.
it's like, just like I can't say that Palestine is a country. And, and that the Palestinian people are human beings that deserve dignity and emancipation from a occupying force. I signed a contract. It's called the anti-BDS contract. I'm a teacher in Texas. By the way, look that shit up. That's the real, for the record. That is a real thing that they make you in fucking Texas sign. Okay? For those of you who don't know, you're like, why the fuck would that be a thing? Yeah, look up anti-BDS laws in Texas.
Or suppress any child. I want there to be equality in the classroom. What I am saying is that there are factual instances where this is being taught in classrooms. I pulled my children out of public school because there are so many instances of this happening. I am a parent. I'm looking in the book bag every day. I'm checking in with homework. I am talking to the teachers and the
God, she's the most annoying motherfucker at PTA.
Principals, and I'm involved, but we didn't know that, during class, there were images shown of literal sex acts or describing certain situations that were inappropriate for young children.
We have a belief system at home, and the children want to break the boundaries of that belief system naturally because we're human beings. That's just what we do. And we're trying to confine them to a set of beliefs to say, this is what is right in our home. And we're seeing the schools get funding from Planned Parenthood. They tried to pass a bill to put medical facilities to offer abortions in high schools here in California. And it's gradual, right? It starts with, this is a book that has two dads. This is a book.
Bro, first of all, that's a great idea, number one. Number two, okay, that was literally, that is 1,000,000% like a provision that allows like the school nurse to make like, as long as they have the proper certifications, to make like medical assessments on things like that, so, and then refer them to a clinic. And then conservatives took that and ran with like, they are forcibly aborting your teenage pregnant daughters. Okay, like it's always some shit like that. It's always like major red tape involved, like bureaucratic decision that like gives just a fraction more comfort to teenagers going through a tough time, right? To make like a medical decision, right? And conservatives will turn that into like the school nurse can offer condoms to students to like they are both forcibly impregnating our daughters and then forcibly making them do abortions. That's what this bill is. That's what this bill is about. It's like, no, that's not. You're insane. You're an insane person.
Book with two moms. And it's just a gradual curiosity that could leverage and break away that child from the root in the home. My education growing up was fully public education. College is where I started getting a curiosity for truth and education, and I think I'm so passionate about the education system today because it is obviously broken, but how do we fix it? Many of these progressive ideas in fixing it is just more empathy, sympathy, safety, but in reality, I see the public school system isn't actually accomplishing the goal of what education is, which is teaching critical thinking, how to understand, how to ask good questions.
I love that this guy thinks he knows how to do critical thinking. It's just like, you could not be further from the truth, my man.
And then comprehend how to problem solve.
Oh, God.
Affirmative action is racial discrimination.
I'm more annoyed that his haircut is cool.
There was a high school down the street from where I live in Los Angeles that encouraged all the kids of color to apply for their school play. And only once all the kids of color received whatever positions they wanted, then the white kids could apply. That, in my opinion, is an example of discrimination. The fact that we now have Harvard has black-only kids' dorms, that to me is segregation.
With affirmative action, we've seen with Harvard lawsuits and other things how it's backfiring and it's picking and choosing of which minorities can and cannot have success. It was done to try to create or make up for the wrongs of our past, but I think it's really backfired.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, excluding those excelling students in other races to fix the problems of the past, like you said. But I think the past, there were a lot of minorities that were excelling and doing really well.
Despite the foot of the
Exactly.
government. And like,
Where? What? No, there weren't. What? No, they were like, what? Bro, he's not talking about like, the fuck's he talking about? Is he like literally saying like, oh, in the past, like there was what, like some people really excelled at like what, fucking picking cotton? Like what the fuck's he talking about? Like, the wrongs of the past are literally like slavery and segregation. Like, what the fuck do you mean? What, does he mean the past like 10 years ago? Like, what the fuck is he talking about? What kind of fucking take is this? I do not understand, Mr. Critical Thinking. What the fuck? It's quite literally, what the fuck? I have 100% bought shrooms for this dude at Grateful Dead concert. I actually don't understand what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what? Does he mean like outliers? Like he's talking about like the one fucking guy, you know, W.E.B. Du Bois, like, you know, every now and then, like even in the segregation era, there were like people who were able to overcome immense amounts of discrimination. Or is he talking about the model minority myth? Because if he's talking about the model minority myth, like, yeah, dramatically different socioeconomic factors at play there. Like, notice how, like, here's the thing. This comes from, again, the white supremacist association with, like, assuming that all races are a monolith, right? All non-white races are a monolith. Like, they'll always say, like, oh, Asians. Okay, bro. When you say Asian, like, who are we talking about? Are you talking about people that are coming from, you know, China, that come from better socioeconomic backgrounds? Or are you talking about fucking Vietnamese people like that came to the United States of America under very different set of circumstances? Or are you talking about, you know, Southeast Asian people that, again, come into the United States of America under very different circumstances? Like, the idea that, like, you know, the idea that, like, all Asians are a certain way is such a fucking stupid thing. It is entirely dependent on the broad socioeconomic factors and whether there was, like, amnesty or refugee, like, whether there was, like, a time when refugees were allowed. It's just, it's so dumb.
Yes.
Kudos to them.
Yes.
Incredible, strong human beings. And we shouldn't have that discrimination in any way anymore. But unfortunately, it has become a discrimination against other groups.
Yeah, it's racism. It is racism. If you are taking a group of people and
Oh, the guy who shot up the LGBT bar is apparently the grandson of the GOP California State Assemblyman Randy Vopel from San Diego, who voiced support for the January 6th Capitol attack. Interesting. I wonder why they didn't do anything about it, and his record was expunged as an adult, or not expunged, but sealed as an adult. That's interesting. You mean tell me that the GOP may have terrorists in their midst? Surely this will shock the world. The Sean guy's organization is so normal. Definitely just a conservative parent. Oh, yeah, this is a trick that they pull all the time. So conservatives have a lot of people with like disposable income and like a lot of free time on their hands. They love making these like idiotic fucking organizations. Oh, he's a 3%er. Wait. Does Sean have a 3%er tattoo in his hand? Oh. That's interesting. Okay, well that brings up a lot more. That's not him. Wait, really? That's not him?
Revival is to spark the hearts of men to get activated once again. Let's show people what freedom really.
Oh, that isn't him. That's another dude. What the fuck? That's literally another dude with the same hair. What the fuck?
Looks like freedom is joy and hope.
That's crazy. No, that's him. Wait, where is it? No, it's not.
Love.
Look at his hand.
And that comes through Christ. That comes through the example of Jesus Christ's teachings. This is it. This is the birth of something great.
Name is Sean too. No, that's him. No, I'm saying this is a different guy. Like this is not our Sean. This is our Sean. In the Freedom Revival group, there are multiple guys with that hair, some of which are 3%ers, I guess, or have 3%er tattoos.
Comes through Christ. That comes through the example of Jesus Christ's teachings. This is it. This is the birth of something great.
So the Bible says that where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And that's what this is about. This is about...
Yeah, there was another... Dude, that's so cool. Like, Rasta libertarians. Dude, that's all... Oh, that's the guy.
Too, we're making an effort to try and get politicians to actually care about the people and not trying to follow a political agenda. It's about freedom in every aspect.
That's the guy who has the tattoo. What the fuck? By the way, this is a thing that they do all the time. They do it on fucking Fox News and they do it on Jubilee as well. Conservatives have so many of these like psychotic fucking 501c3s that are like about, you know, preserving the safety of our children's genitals or whatever the fuck, right? And then, you know, they'll always have like a concerned parent come on, and it's like the guy is like the leader of the Penis Inspection Day momentum group. You know what I mean? It's like, well, you're not just a conservative parent, dude. You're not a conservative concerned parent. You're literally the leader of the Penis Inspection Day movement group. Okay, that's a whole different thing. That's what you're doing.
And judging them on their race and setting them aside, giving them a special treatment if you are uplifting a person or you are trying to suppress a person because of their race. That is racism. So we're supposed to believe that someone like Barack Obama's children are like struggling because they're black? Like that's ridiculous.
Damn, she just fucking owned racism, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, she just owned it, dude. Everyone's always saying that, by the way. People are saying that systemic racism exists, which is why Barack Obama's children are suffering. That's what that means. To be fair, I'm going to be as charitable as I can to her because we live in a liberal, we live under this like incredibly powerful liberal hegemonic culture that obviously the idea of class and your class position has been like completely wiped clean from our understanding of ourselves. So she can't even comprehend that like there could be one identifier that is more powerful than the others when determining someone's future. So that's it. That's where this fucking idiotic nonsense comes from.
Ridiculous. So I pulled my oldest daughter out a public school in Florida. We were having debates about pulling down statues and changing names, and some of the school board members and some of the activist groups were saying that black children could not learn because of names on buildings, and that is completely asinine to me. It basically says that because we have a higher level of melanin, somehow our brains don't work. And every other kid could walk into the building and get the education that they needed, but somehow.
God, I fucking hate, like, ugh. I hate how, like, I'm actually smarter than everyone she is, too. She's like, I'm in on something that no one else is. I'm a critical thinker, unlike the rest of the blacks. Like, okay, dude, chill. What the fuck? Like, you haven't arrived at like one fucking thing. You haven't arrived at like one correct position this entire time. And every single time you fucking bring this shit up, every single time you bring something up, it is completely made up. It's a completely made up grievance. Okay, no one is saying that like, oh, students can't fucking learn, or black students specifically can't learn education or the things that they're being taught because like there is what do you call it? Because like the fucking school names are a certain way. No, it's just more so like another institutional. It's just another institutional reinforcement of like where black students are going to school. Okay. It is the same exact concept as putting a fucking Robert E. Lee statue outside of a courthouse during the civil rights movement, okay? It is to remind people what this country was built on, okay? White supremacist foundations. So defending that is really stupid. Like, it's just insane to me. Defending that as a black person is additionally stupid.
Not for you black children, and I found that to be just disgusting, and I did not want my children to have any type of idea coming from authority figures who believed in such things like that.
First of all, I would like to say that affirmative action programs, the biggest beneficiary according to the data, and this has been government data, has been white women first and foremost. Second of all, I would never use Barack Obama's kids as a barometer for anything because they do have privilege as well as Will Smith kids. But if we talk about Laquan Smith down the street that nobody knows, there will be some impediments based on his race. Yeah.
Why? How do you know that?
Because people do to.
What the fuck? Dude, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Class, dude. Class. Black people were systemically robbed of playing a fucking role in society that profited off of their labor for hundreds of fucking years. And then on top of that, even after the abolition of slavery, they were still utilized as a way to drive a wedge between the working class. Ultimately, there are two things here. You either think that black people are across the board experiencing economic results that they do where they underperform as a consequence of intrinsic factors, where you literally have to admit that you are just a racist person and you think that like black people are inferior or some shit, or external factors that are completely outside of their fucking control, which means systemic racism, which means you have to exist as systemic racism happened and it's still happening. That's it. It's not that hard to come to terms with this reality.
Tend to look and see race. What you were talking about is just racism, but when it's institutional and structural, it does something totally different. And when the black wealth gap is 100 years behind the white wealth gap in America, it'll take 100 years to catch up.
Why do you think that's because of racism, though? You take one.
Yeah, no. It's not totally. Yeah. Slavery wasn't, was defended on white supremacist grounds. or institutionalized, codified on white supremacist grounds. It was something totally different.
One thing and say that is the cause for every person of color.
The data
that
bears
that what data? What data is saying that black people are behind? Because there are many black people that aren't behind, that are doing much better than other people.
No, you're absolutely right. And there are outliers in every single community. There are very strong, members of the black community that are very affluent. There are also a majority that live in poverty. And if we see a bunch of cities that are majority person of color, and we're trying to recognize why have these places stayed at a very stable poverty line? But there are systemic reasons to why these communities are like that. How would you
I would
that
say
then?
probably because of policies that are in those
racist.
cities.
Yeah, no, she doesn't think it's racist policy. She's going to hit the Thomas Sowell. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready for the welfare. Get ready for the welfare note.
Racist policies, absolutely.
Hold on, we got to define terms. When would you say that?
Oh, they cut her off. Oh, no. She was going to hit the Thomas Sowell, dude. What the fuck? Yeah. She was going to say, like, it's because black people are too addicted to the government dime. You know what I mean? That's what it is. She's about to say welfare, 100%. As crazy at the top of the hour ad break just cut you off so aggressively, you know? Especially when at the top of the hour comes and goes. Okay? But if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime. Or by getting gifted a sub if you're lucky. Okay? Woman ad break now. GOP Lemon Party. Thank you for the 531 gift.
Boston Compton became the way that it is. Was it like that in the 40s and 50s?
No, it's a growth.
No, I'm asking you.
From redlining policies that were enabled.
In California?
Yeah, absolutely. California put in racist policies. I would never deny that.
Bro, this guy thinks California didn't have redlining. That's crazy. No, dude. Yeah, no, that's totally. Black people were like, we want to live right here and nowhere else. You know? Also, it's hilarious because it's this notion that like California isn't racist when, you know, it gave us Reagan and Nixon, okay? No, you guys don't understand. Like, you guys don't understand. There are just white enclaves and black neighborhoods for no reason. Okay, guys? That just kind of happened, you know? It wasn't like designed through financial tools and other systemic ways. That just kind of happened. It's so strange how that works, you know? Yeah, it just spilled out that way. Yeah, oopsie.
All of these supposed solutions are actually hurting. Wouldn't a better solution be to teach our kids that we're all born in the image of God? We should all treat one another equally. And if you're if you don't believe in God, then we're all equal, right? If you come from a poor neighborhood, whether you're black or Hispanic or an immigrant from anywhere, obviously you don't have the same privileges that somebody who comes from a wealthy community, but that has nothing to do with your color. I don't think that if you're an impoverished black kid or you're an impoverished white kid, one should receive a resource and the other shouldn't.
Would you say that it's economic then is the reason that causes these disparities?
Economic, but I don't think it's related to color.
But would you say if there's a majority of a particular group that lies underneath the poverty line in economic, race has anything to do with that?
It could, but it's just not blanket. You don't know. Why don't we look at the family?
No, it is. It is definitely one thing that you can say. Like, as much as I'm a fucking as much as I talk about class regularly, like pretty obvious what happened, right? Like black people experience classist violence on racial boundaries, okay? That's what it is historically. If you're going to think about it as like classist depression, yes, black people have been subjected to a permanent underclass position on the boundaries of their race. That's it. And the only way to fucking, the only way to right those wrongs is by offering reparations and some way of, one, originally recognizing those wrongs and then doing something about it in forms of restitution. But if those wrongs were committed on the basis of race, which they were, then the correction is also going to be racialized. Complaining about that is fucking stupid.
Families, the black families, who have done those amazing things in this country, and study what they did to succeed instead of just focusing on, oh, well, black people are behind and we don't even know what to do. Well, why don't we just go and look? Since you are a professor, wouldn't that be, you go and look at what has worked?
Well, I would never just go to you and just look at you. And I'm sorry, it's just the reality of the data. And so what I share...
Data can be broken up in umpteen different ways.
No, it can't.
Yes, it
No,
can.
actually,
You're a professor and you're saying that data cannot be manipulated?
Bro, yes, data can be manipulated, but like, that's true, but like, what do you think? Like, the data is manipulated? That, the data that shows black people having worse outcomes overall, if you strip them of every other, quality, okay? If you look at a black middle class family and a white middle class family, and the black middle class family underperforms in comparison to the white middle class family, how do you think that happens? Why do you think that happens? Do you think that there aren't still racist policies in place? Because if you don't recognize that there are still racist policies in place, you just straight up are saying the black family is underperforming because they're just inferior to the white family. That's why I always say there's only two ways to look at this. It's either some intrinsic factor or some external conditions. If you recognize that it's external conditions, then you recognize systemic racism. If you think that it's intrinsic factors, then you think it's just racial inferiority. That's it.
This is why my kids do not go to public school anymore.
I don't, and I'm glad they don't.
I just think it's interesting. I'm thinking of like an anecdotal story I have. Last year, the school that I taught at, Deep East Oakland, I served majority black and brown students. Over 70% of our families under the poverty line. These are some of the hardest working people I have ever seen in my life. They get up, they have 2 or 3 jobs, 3 or 4 children.
I would argue
because of their economic status, right?
Because of liberal policies that is the government telling them that they can and cannot succeed, because of how high our property taxes are here, because we do not have school choice where they can take their dollars somewhere else. If you put...
Oh God, it's a conservative talking point machine, dude. And by the way, we found out that she is literally a conservative radio host. That's why you literally have like actual liberal teachers going up against someone who like professionally propagandizes, okay? I hate that. Yeah, super high property taxes are the reasons why black people are suffering under our current economic conditions, which, by the way, famously, white people don't pay property taxes. Man, if you're trying to fucking identify racial disparities, okay, then don't look at such broad, don't try to fucking, apply this insanely broad solution to it that almost immediately undermines the point that you're trying to make. It's like, oh, welfare, a dependence on welfare, liberal policies, taxes are too high. It's like, that's an interesting perspective, but like white people are paying those taxes too, so why are they not experiencing the same kind of fucking outcomes? Ironic considering black people pay less property tax than white people do, because Black people are less likely to even be homeowners. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like, it's literally like saying, yeah, black people are falling behind white people in modern society because of the corporate the corporate tax rate, like, or because of the top marginal tax rate. It's like, literally, statistically speaking, they're less likely to be impacted by the thing that you're talking about.
Those same families in redder districts in the country, like places in Florida and Texas or Virginia, where they have better options for their family, you would definitely see them be.
If that was the case, then they would be doing better. But it's just crazy that they're not. At least she didn't say estate tax. Yeah, she forgot about that.
Able
And
to
where
succeed at
black
different-
and brown children are still underperforming in schools?
But coming from Florida, the school that I was at, it's graded from like A to like D, F. When I started there, it was a C school. Very poor performing. And technically, sure, they have school choice. They don't have state tests anymore. But they're still so badly performing. The community of it.
She's so mad. Oh my God, dude. It's crazy. You seriously think that black people aren't doing better in Texas than Illinois? You're crazy. First and foremost, I fucking despise people that have been so sucked into this idiotic propaganda that they think black people in southern states are doing better. That's number one. It's not even true. Number two, okay, you're not comparing black people in Texas to black people in Illinois. You should be comparing black people to white people in that same state. That's what we're talking about with respect to like black people underperforming. Okay. And in that circumstance, they're still doing worse overall. And also, once again, I need to repeat myself over and over again. I hate this idea that like black people in the South are doing really well when no one in the South is doing well across the board. Okay, yeah, black people are thriving in Jackson, Mississippi. Exactly. I've lived in the South and the North. I live in a community with 60% black New Orleans. Definitely doing better in the South. We have more interracial marriages in Louisiana than any other state per capita. I wonder why. Maybe because, and this is like, if you told this to a liberal, they would have no answer for this because liberals only think the South is just like white people. I, on the other hand, am aware that there are more black people in the South than there are in the fucking North. So yeah, that's probably why there's more interracial marriages in New Orleans, which, by the way, is not even a factor of consideration here. Why the fuck did you even bring that up? Another fun fact from fucking New Orleans or Louisiana, if you want to talk about it, is also the fact that there's a literal slave plantation called Angola, named after the actual fucking plantation at the heart of Louisiana, right there. Like the state penitentiary is literally still named Angola after the fucking plantation, which was named after where the slaves were coming from. There's a reason why black people are there, because that's where their culture and community can shine. Bro, there's no way this person's black, right? Oh, I totally get there's plenty of racism in every state, but the liberal racist racism is the most despicable because it's disguised. I mean, I fucking despise liberals that are racist as fuck too. But, and I talk about liberals being racist all the goddamn time. But what you're talking about here is entirely different. Like, you're trying to deny systemic racism. My wife is an Indian Muslim doctor, and she's never really had any issue with racism, but she's had coworkers that were black that had really bad experiences with racist whites. What? Okay, you're just like saying completely unrelated shit. You just like opened up 8 new lines of dialogue here, and I need to stick on message here, okay? Like you went on to so many different like personal anecdotes. There's a reason why there's a lot of black people in the South. I don't know if you know this. It's called slavery. That's where they were when they were stolen from their homes and ripped away from their culture That's literally it. Like, it's not like people were up north. Not like motherfuckers were in like Illinois and they were like, man, I really want to move down to Alabama, dude. I really want to get a taste of Mississippi and all it has to offer me. Like, that's not a thing that happened. Okay? Sure, they could be like 1 or 2 fucking instances, but like, that's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Even though you and I don't agree on every single subject, I think you're a powerful voice and extremely important for the internet culture. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. Thank you, bro. That's insane. So I'm imagining like the black people that were literally not allowed to live in Oregon because of black exclusion laws, for example, when it was a fucking territory, going, man, I want to try my luck down south, you know, at the Angola plantation. Let's go down there and see what that's about, you know, really trading up here. Like, oh, wow, I really like living in fucking Jackson. When there's no, you know, when the pipes have eroded and I don't have clean water to wash my body with, I definitely have the financial security to be able to leave, but I choose not to. Is that what you think is going on? You think that's what happened? Black people were like, I love living in a neighborhood where I'm getting lead poisoning from, you know, regular infrastructure that should offer me not poison in the water supply. But I choose to live here because my culture is thriving, dude. It's wild because not even white people that are well off in the South and black people still have it worse. Guys trying to deny it entirely. Yeah, that's the other part of the puzzle, is that like, it's not even just black people in the South that are doing worse overall. White people in the South are doing worse overall as well. For literally the right-wing policies that she was talking about as a prescription to get away from racism. That's crazy.
Black, brown, very little white students in that community. But not to say that student of color can't be more affluent, but I think it's ridiculous to kind of say that color doesn't play a part into disparities and just disadvantages. So in Florida, a lot of people that I had encountered weren't kind to others, and sometimes I would have coworkers.
I currently live in Wyoming, where people don't even know that racism exists, even though they're all racist. Probably they've just never met anyone else. Like I said, my wife is an Indian Muslim doctor. When she tells people she's Indian, they just think she's Native American. Bro, okay, you got to stop. You got to stop with these anecdotes. It's blowing my fucking mind. You have described nothing to me, okay? Like, you think you're saying stuff, but you're not saying anything. Please listen to your wife. She would probably urge you not to fucking type these things in the chat. It seems please go talk to your wife about this experience.
Call students retarded and using racist slurs and things like that. And from my standpoint, hearing something like that, it disgusted me. My coworkers very quickly were able to kind of distinguish me from the rest. Like, if I was gonna come to the teacher's lounge, more hushed conversation, people wouldn't share as much as they used to, just because I would call out behavior like that.
Teachers with guns make schools safer.
People think my Indian Muslim wife is Native American. No racism here in Wyoming, by the way. That's such a funny take. That's true. It's so dumb. Oh no, dude. It's so stupid, dude. Oh my God. Oh, it's good. It's really good. That guy is awesome. Never stop posting in the chat, brother. You got you're on fire, dude. Thank you, KO Fishy, for breaking down what that other chatter was saying.
You know what? I'm going to disagree.
So I was really in between. I didn't really know how I felt about this issue at first. But then I started looking at places that had armed their teachers.
Oh no, they're fucking talking about teachers with guns make schools safer.
So I believe that model is
Bro,
good.
I feel like Jubilee makes these videos for me and me only, okay? I feel like this is like mathematically made to break my brain. I'm about to have a fucking aneurysm watching this. Like every subject. It's also like scientifically the dumbest people they could find. What? Nah, this is actually weird. What did he do? And lead us not into temptation? What the fuck? Bro, you're 50. Dude, that's weird, man. Why are you posting that?
It has to be voluntary.
Yes.
So the teachers have to want to do it themselves. They have to be well trained.
Yes.
They have to have background checks periodically. That has been successful.
If we're trusting teachers, which in some cases we do, in some cases we don't, but if my mindset is that if we're going to trust teachers to mold our children's minds and educate them, they're there for 8 hours a day. We should also trust and kind of enable them to protect themselves and our kids physically.
But you don't even trust them to teach your children? What? Like, the first 22 minutes of this was literally, they're making my kid gay. I don't want that. So you don't even trust them to teach in general. Like, you have you have a difference in opinion about the concept of teaching. The concept of education is one that you are upset about. Okay? Now you want to arm them, dude? What the fuck? I want these queer teachers to have weapons. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's just like they're just responding to shapes, sizes, and shapes and colors, dude. They're such lizard brained. Like I pulled my children out of school and I'm homeschooling them now because they were teaching them gay shit. But also, I want those gay-ass teachers that have AR-15s. What? You don't trust them around a book. Why do you trust them around a weapon, dude? What the fuck? Oh, Jesus Christ. It's so transparent that it's just like literally policy that has been hardwired into their brains that they're just spitting out, that internally it makes no sense. It's like the irony of someone being like, I want all teachers to be armed and deadly, while also simultaneously saying you're pro-life. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that. I'm pro-life. That's why I think everyone should pay for health care. We need to paywall healthcare and important surgeries. That's how pro-life I am. I ride or die for life, actually.
By no means should we ever,
except for the pregnant mother. Fuck that woman if she's having a child and she doesn't want to have it.
Force a teacher to carry a gun, but if a teacher is willing to take on the responsibility of learning how to handle a weapon properly, I think that we should allow them to do that for us. And it frankly,
bro, cops are supposed to be the most trained, like, in using their weapons. The NYPD active shooting target hit rate is like 7%. Okay? And those are the trained motherfuckers, supposedly. You know what I mean? So you really think a teacher's gonna be better? Like, what are you, crazy? No, not 70, man. You think the NYPD active shooting target hit rate is 70%? What do you think? There's just snipers, dude? What? No. Homie said 70%. Yeah, they got NYPD only hired 10s and Timmy, you know? It's crazy. They're doing flicks out there, dude. It's wild. No, they're out there shooting like fucking stormtroopers, dude. You're crazy.
It would be an incredible service to us.
All right, so just to break it open, this conversation is so much more nuanced than to arm or not to arm. And if you want to save a school, you need to get parental engagement. Let's look at the mindset of the individuals that are going into these homes with firearms. Those individuals are not mentally okay. There's something wrong happening, whether it's at school, in the house, whether it's, who knows, maybe it's something they're consuming online. And I think that's the parent's job to continue to engage to make sure that child is healthy. A lot of these kids, as well, that are going into schools that are not mentally healthy, they're coming from single-parent households. They're living with their grandparents. There's something.
Or their dad's name is Sean, and he runs this fucking Freedom Revival 2.0 group with this fucking Nazi-looking dude with the 3%er tattoo.
We thought about this event, when we thought about bringing this many people together, we had no idea what God was going to do, but we knew that there was something missing. Not just in our state, but in our nation. We knew something was missing, and the one thing...
Bro, does everybody have fucking locks? Like, what's going on right now? Everybody in this organization has... What is happening, bro? Okay, at first I was joking, but like, what? Why? What? Yo, this makes no sense. What is going on, dude? What the fuck? Oh my God, dude. Bro, this organization looks like fucking... They look like a Game of Thrones cast right now, dude. The fucking Targaryens, dude. Everybody's got the same hair. Oh my God. Christopherian? Or not Targaryen, Valerian, sorry. House Libertarian. Oh, okay. I can't keep looking at that.
There's something intrinsically with their identity that's broken, and I think that whether you arm a school or you don't, it's not going to change it if you don't address the real issue.
I agree with you that people that are, perpetrating these crimes and these like mass casualties are messed up individuals. I would absolutely agree. Mass shooting.
Oh, it's not 7%. It's 18 to 37% hit rate, depending on situational factors. Trained police is their target less than 30% of the time. Half true. Do more than 7 to 10 police bullets miss their mark, as this gun control advocate said? They say there's a RAND study that looked at the accuracy of the NYPD hit rates. Oh, close range. Come on, bro. Come on, brother. You can't say that. You can't do that. Oh, they're like, yeah, no, up close. Like, in immediate executions, they only hit 7 yards and less. We're hitting 37% of the time. That is worse than Valo. That is worse than my fucking Valo rating. Bro, this made it worse, okay? I was wrong, by the way. It wasn't 7%. It was 18% is what I was thinking of. But remember, that's a gunfight. And when there's no return fire, like, there's no return fire, as in, like, they're saying, like, the person that they're hitting is unarmed. It's 30%, surprisingly. But not always. Not always. Sometimes close range, 37%. Yeah, if there's no return fire, that's not a gunfight, okay? That's why I said in an active shooting situation. What the fuck? 2016, only 145 shots fired? Then it explodes. Oh no, it was more in 2013 and 2012. Okay. What the fuck? LA Police Department. According to 2016 report, the average annual hit ratio from 2012 to 2016 was 33.4% with a substantial uptick in 2016. Again, that's all though. By the way, if you notice, a lot of these studies are conducted and then never done again. Like the famous 1990 study that was a self-reported study on domestic abuse in households. It's just very weird. They always will they'll always do one and then never again. I wonder why. So strange. Google 40% cops for more information. It's always a one and done. That's why they didn't send the cops in Uvalde. They knew they'd be more likely to hit random kids than the shooter. Yeah, that's why they were saving them.
Shootings are a uniquely American problem. So if we try to understand what's the root, why is America solely have that problem, I would say it's a gun culture problem. So if the idea is, should we try to remove aspects of gun culture that really pervade in our society, should we do that, or should we just increase the amount of firearms we can have in every single space, just so that way we're properly ready for a gunfight whenever
I want
it
to
comes
clarify
up.
gun culture. Are you saying that there's like the shoot 'em up, bang 'em up video games? Are you saying
No,
the
I wouldn't say
individuals-
it's video games. I'd say institutions like the NRA that heavily impose, you need to own not just firearms, but as many firearms as you can. I personally would not like to be armed. I do not want to take lethal action in the classroom, and I want to make it a safe and inclusive environment. Arming teachers is a response measure to particular violence that goes on in our schools here in America. And personally, I think we should focus more towards solutions to prevent these occurrences from happening rather than just implementing responses implying that these actions will occur.
And I'm just going to be honest with you, you don't want me to have a gun because I had to go back to therapy in the last few months. And so I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying, what your plan was. But I would also say mental health.
He's like, some of your kids are such fucking shitters, I would pop off on them. He's like, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I should have a gun in the classroom, okay? He's like, bro, you are not getting a hall pass, okay?
We got to understand, some of these school shootings are done because people have snapped.
People have natural biases and things like that, and people could act on those biases. Then they could be guns drawn and not a clear mind, As a parent, how would you feel knowing that you don't know which teachers have a gun and you've had bad experiences with prior teachers? What if that teacher that absolutely,
So
blown
my
up
answer, my answer to your question is I feel the same way about the guard in front of my kid's school. I don't really know the guard, but he's gone through training. And
I love that. Well, first of all, that guard is literally also not equipped enough to deal with a fucking school shooting. Let's be real. You just are lucky enough not to ever have to test that. And secondly, okay, there is a systemic solution to this problem that revolves around the fucking guard, okay?
presume that he knows what he's doing. And frankly, I feel the same way about a police officer. I don't need the police officer, but they've gone through training and they were willing to take on that responsibility. And so I would apply the same logic. It's so interesting that you bring that up because it really ties back to why I feel like we need to be careful about how much responsibility we're saddling teachers with teaching our kids values, right? On the one hand, the system is saying, trust our teachers, they know better than you parents. We should be able to teach them what they need to know about sexuality. On the other hand, you guys are admitting that many teachers.
The guards are the first ones to dip out of there, bro. Also, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, bro, die. You know what I mean? To a dude who's like getting paid literally minimum wage, okay? And in most instances doesn't have fucking guns to begin with. Cops, on the other hand, they're at least getting paid enough, okay? And we're praising them. The expectation is that they are supposed to fucking dive in front of the bullets, okay? Guards are just there to do security theater, okay? It's like TSA. They're not there to like actually stop terrorism, okay?
Are not really checked for mental issues. We don't really know what is happening in these classrooms.
I'm not
We
saying
don't
that
know about
teachers
what
are not
friction.
checked. We very frequently have like professional development days where we got self-care. So I wouldn't say many by any means. And when I'm coming into the workplace, I'm not bringing in all my baggage. As to say, you know, you go into your work, you're not like, oh, I'm so depressed, my kid's this,
So
that.
why, if there is a teacher who is willing to step forward and will go through the training and will go through the screening, why not empower them to save our kids? I mean, in Uvalde, if there was a teacher.
Bro, can you imagine, like, Oklahoma teacher salary is like 27 grand a year. They're like, here, take a gun. Now you have to fucking defend against some psychotic fucking students snapping and bringing an AR-15 to school. It's like, yeah, you got no benefits, okay? You got no benefits. You're getting paid 27 grand. Shut the fuck up and defend the school. It's like, bro, I mean, that's crazy. That's a crazy thing, man. Also, imagine if the teachers had guns in Uvalde. Okay, what about the fucking trained police, dumbass? You just brought up the trained police as an example of like who we believe and rely on to save our children. And then you said, what about if the teachers had training in guns? Well, the fucking trained police that you just brought up didn't do shit in Uvalde. Why are you bringing up Uvalde? 90% of conservative arguments are self-defeating, dude. What the fuck? It's killing me. It is hurting my brain. I'm becoming actively dumber by listening to these fucking idiots. Holy shit.
Who could actually save those children, then maybe
Yeah, she's the
we would not
CEO
have
of Prager
seen
U.
so much
Yes,
death.
I know.
When we place teachers with a firearm in the classroom, it takes the instance of a violent occurrence from a possibility in the minds of these children to an inevitability.
That's what that fucking idiot is the CEO of Prager U, bro. Can you imagine? Just a regular concerned parent, you know what I mean? They should put that in there, dude. They like Jubilee is cucking people by saying these are just regular fucking parents. By the way, if your job is to be the CEO of a propaganda outlet, like you should literally have better talking points. Okay? It's unacceptable how fucking stupid you are with your talking points. You're the CEO of Prager U. Oh my God.
But the children don't know. It is a concealed and carry weapon that has gone through the process of the local sheriff's department, background check, training, checkups,
no one knows
everything.
But the teacher
no one knows.
and the police
I have a
department.
logistical question.
Yeah.
Does this teacher have the gun on them?
Yes.
You wouldn't
It is
know.
holstered on them?
At all times.
It's a concealed carry.
It should never be in a place of a child.
It's illegal
No,
to
I know what a
brandish.
concealed
I
carry
just
is,
want to
but
clarify.
my thing and why this question sort of enrages me. Why are we asking teachers to carry guns? When did this become an occupational hazard? When did we walk into school and people were like, by the way, you could be shot today, so maybe you want to have your Glock strapped on you because who knows, this might be your last day on earth. That is ridiculous. If you 50 years ago were to look at a teacher and be like, hey, do you want to hold this gun with you? You know, like you might need it. They're gonna scratch their heads and look at you funny. This is opening up a bigger conversation, right? But I think that even though it is voluntary, right, we still need to have this conversation. Like it still needs to happen of why, even if a teacher was willing to carry a gun to school, they are even having to be asked to do.
The funniest part about that is like the likelihood that if you fucking arm teachers, like the likelihood of school shootings happening is going to increase tenfold. One, because like just having more guns means that there's going to be more opportunities for school shootings. One, because like a teacher might snap, okay? Now they have a gun and they already brought it into school. Two, and more commonly so, they're going to steal the fucking guns. Students are going to steal the guns like all the time. Now you have a heavily armed group of students.
Do that in the first place.
Teachers are not paid enough.
Oh, Sean.
Every day I wake up and I hand to you guys the most precious thing in my entire life, my children. I think that it's important.
Jubilees enable right-wing propaganda to appear more legitimate by allowing pundits on one side to be pitted against everyday people on the other side. Except no, but I think they should still disclose that these are pundits that they have on the right-wing side and then be like, and that's how hard they got owned by normies, okay? That's the point here. The real lesson to be taken from this conversation is that, like, you put fucking four nerds together, okay? Well, one HasanAbi head and 3 nerds together, they will fucking eat the asses of like 4 pundits. Okay? 4 conservative like propaganda guys. And it's true. They're literally fucking destroying these idiots. And it's not like these guys do this for a living. The other side does it for a living. Mason is the HasanAbi head.
That our society will reflect how much we value you guys. I think that you should receive bonuses if you do a great job. If you're able to represent all of us as Americans, both conservatives and liberals, and you're able to speak on our behalf and take care of our children, we should reward you for that, and you should feel rewarded for that. And so I don't know exactly what you make, but I think it is really important that we invest in you and we pour into you. And when I see the entire budget that the state of California, for example, spends on education, and I realize that a sliver fraction of it only goes to you guys, it breaks my heart, and frankly, it makes me so angry.
By the way, you're the CEO of PragerU. So like your solution is to like just completely destroy the public education system. I wonder if she'll say it's because of the student unions, it's the teacher unions. That's the reason.
I don't need more bureaucrats. I need more good teachers.
I left the K through 12 and went to the community college, and I do pretty well. I'm going to be clear with that. But also I have a master's.
So you're not oppressed. Thank
so
God.
I have a master's, but I had to work really hard to get.
God, ew. That's so bad. That's so bad. So whack. God, conservatives are so stinky. They're just so gross. Yuck.
But I'm also in a doctoral program, and you're right, I'm paying out of pocket too. Again, I had a student the other day saying, I can't pay my electric bill. How much is your electric bill? I'll pay your electric bill. And so I put up students in hotels because they have nowhere to live. I have a student who doesn't have a family. He told me the other day, I need a dad. I said, I'll be your father, because it just broke my heart that a 19-year-old is in this world alone, doesn't have family.
Yeah, I would be scared to like calculate how much I spent for my classroom, right?
Yes.
Like all the materials, all the things that I'm purchasing, all the things that I'm doing. And it's just interesting to think that we are always told like teachers are heroes, they're teaching the youth of America, but also we're not gonna give you enough money to survive comfortably. Like you're gonna struggle every day. There have been days when I go to work and I'm like, am I gonna have money to put gas in my car? I guess we're gonna find out, right?
Chat being like, oh, I need a father, bro. Come on, dude. I'm the father that stepped up every day.
Right? And I know so many other teachers who are struggling to keep afloat. I can't even imagine I can't even think about having a family as a teacher. I think that growing up, I was not the strongest student. I didn't necessarily see the point in what we were doing. And I think that ultimately that felt like it was because education was something that I had to get through, not necessarily something that I was obtaining. But I think what really pushed me to go into teaching was wanting to give kids a space where they didn't feel the way I feel growing up, where they felt like they had power to make choice in their education, and that their education could be powerful in aiding them to do what they wanted to do.
So I'm not a teacher. I don't know how much you guys make. And I'm not going to use you as the example. I'm going to use a friend of mine. She's been at a school for a number of years. I want to say it's 6, 7, 8 years, and she's become tenured. And through her tenureship, she's accumulated so much wealth. I'm appalled at how much she's making because she teaches Spanish to 6th grade.
Bro, she said, I'm appalled. Yo, you're a bad friend, dude. That's not a friend. That's an enemy, okay? You're just a bad person in general, and certainly a bad friend. Crazy to me.
Graders, and she's making over $150,000 a year.
Can I ask you a question? What kind of school does she work at?
Public school?
Interesting.
Yeah. And so
I mean, how much experience goes on with that too?
It must, I'm assuming, because you've invested into your career, which I think everybody should. But for me, I look at it as you're making $150,000 in 9 months.
The prompt very clearly was, are teachers paid enough?
Yes.
And I mean, we're not. I've had to work second jobs doing DoorDash just because I wasn't making enough. If you look at these shoes, they are ripped, they are broken. From a teacher wish list, I could not even buy these shoes myself. You know what I'm saying? Sure. I don't make enough money.
So I wanted to clarify, this isn't an absolute. I'm not saying that every teacher is paid enough. I have no idea what your salary is. I have no idea any of those details. I'm just recognizing that if a teacher is getting 9 months and their salary is in 9 months, they get a summer off. Most of society isn't given 3 months to just
That's
go on
assuming
vacation.
they have 3 months. I'm an 11-month employee. For one whole month out of the year, I'm not paid anything. Nothing. I have to figure out my funds, save money that I don't have to try to supply for a month and a half. I don't get supplementary income. Like, that doesn't happen.
Critical race theory is anti-American.
Well, I'll go first. My daughter, same teacher actually, who was asking about her pronouns.
Bro, they say she makes 150K. I don't believe that. It's a lie.
She said that she was going to be introducing some race-themed books. My daughter recorded this conversation in class. So what proceeded to happen is she started to talk to the children in their, I guess, identity groups. Oh, as an African-American child, how are you discriminated against? As an Asian child, she went through all of, except white people. It became
God damn. God damn, dude.
total chaos in the classroom. There was no education going on here. They were just literally going at each other, talking about who was more oppressed. It's not a matter of if something was.
The oppression of black people in America, in like American history, and its contemporary examples, its contemporary ramifications, is not educational. Is a very strange argument to make. Is a very weird argument to make. If that's not educational, then let's not even teach any history. Like, why are we teaching history at all at that point? You know, what the fuck?
Was racist, it's a matter of when something was racist or how the racist thing happened. So they automatically assume, critical race theorists, that racism is embedded into every single thing. How do you look a child, specifically a black child, in the eye and tell them, I'm sorry for you because of your skin color? There's no hope for you in the greatest country literally for them, because black Americans are the most successful black people in the entire world. And then turn around and look at a white child and say, sorry, you're responsible for the atrocities of 200 years ago.
All I have to add to that is that in our home and with our faith, I teach my children that it is awful to make someone feel hopeless or pitied. You're damning them to a future of failure if you are telling them, oh, I pity you and I'm going to do these things for you, instead of coming alongside them and supporting them and doing something for themselves that pulls them out of that hopelessness. And I think that those are two of the worst things that we can do as a broader society.
You know what I love about America? My mother immigrated from Morocco. She's a Jewish person. Everywhere around the world, we're known as the Jew. In America, we're known as American. And I think there's something so powerful about empowering.
Yeah. Now try that for, Latino people, black people, Asian people. It's kind of at the heart of like whiteness, as a matter of fact. It's like someone said, except by Kanye. No, but that is what it is. It's like, yeah, she feels white. She's welcomed in white circles, maybe not for too long, but at least for the time being, she feels comfortable. That's it. It's at the heart of this argument. There's a lot of people that do not feel that way. There's a lot of people that are not made to feel that way.
Empowering any community to be American and to succeed based on your own merit. We don't look back into why we can't. We look into why we can. And so when my family taught me since I was a little girl, I can, I learned that I could. And that's why I think this country has empowered me so much. I want to see the same thing for kids of all colors in the United States. But if we're teaching them that there is no hope for them and that people will always look at them in a different way, then how are they going to hear the message of I can? My question for liberal
That's so bad. That's so bad. Sorry. That's great. It's so bad, it's good. I love that. Yeah, dude. Black people are held back because they learn about the history of slavery. Like, it's such a I love that. It's such a stupid fucking argument, dude. It's like black people are held back by even hearing about slavery, but like not actual implications or the impact of slavery on both American history and black existence throughout time, and also in contemporary black experiences. Like, somehow just hearing about it is infinitely worse than like actually the true ramifications of existing in it, you know? Just don't think about it too hard.
Teachers is, do they think that it's the right place for them to impose liberal ideas in classrooms, knowing that they have many students who come from conservative families? And I find that many of the schools have become battlegrounds for those kinds of ideas. And when teachers are bringing those issues to the classrooms, it's forcing families and conservative kids to have to address these issues. And we believe that they're simply too young to deal with those kinds of complex matters at that age.
Okay, so first of all, I think we need to define what critical race theory is. Critical race theory is a theory that Derek Bell and Kimberly Crenshaw and a bunch of former Harvard law students came up with, where they theorize that within certain American laws, racism is just embedded. And so I'm sorry for your experience, because you shouldn't have to go through that. Nobody should have to go through that. I don't tell my son you can't do anything. I have told my son you have to work twice as hard. I have to tell my son, you're a black man in America, there's certain things you need to do to survive.
I mean, first, I think the idea that we are teaching children critical race theory in schools is ridiculous. As he pointed out, this is a high level, like university level framework. You are not gonna walk into like Isabel's elementary school 5th grade classroom and see Isabel telling these people about the legal structures. In my opinion, how I define myself as an American, right? I define myself as someone who is proud of my country, someone who can look at the mistakes that my country has made in the past and the things that are keeping other people oppressed, and recognize that these are still existing and that we need to work towards changing that. So I don't see how critical race theory could be anti-American, because that's how I define American. And I think it's very nuanced because people define American in many different ways,
I actually
right?
don't completely disagree with your definition of it. I think that maybe you think it's systemic and I think it's the individual. But I think that even in nuanced ways, like the example that she gave, I've heard examples where my nieces have been segregated in the classroom at 4th and 5th grade. And like, well, did this happen to you? Do you have a 2-parent home? Are your grandparents raising you? And like, there's this line of victimhood. And as a woman that has dealt with sexism, I do definitely teach my daughters, like as a girl in this country, it is going to be a different experience than your father had. But I don't think it's beneficial at all to kind of institute that victimhood in their long-term mentality, because then you actually start to see kids that are like, oh, well, they're different than me, so therefore their life could be better or worse than mine. And instead of engaging with those people, they step away.
I don't believe that there's a victimhood to it. I think it's just kind of amplifying that, hey, this is the truth, this is what happens, and
well, what if we thought about sexism in school? Should be like, fuck no. Yeah, I don't even. Depends. Some white ladies, conservatives care about things that impact them, right? So if something impacts a conservative person, if it's like sorry about that. I'm trying to fucking set this shit up so I can play with my friends in a second. Why is it like this though? That's weird. On. Which one is it? Which one is it? Is this the one? How do you not know? I think it's this one. There it is. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second. That was fire, though. That music was crazy. I forgot what Gang Beast is like. You know what I'm saying? I had to download that real quick. Yeah, for all the decades we've been teaching about slavery, the feelings of black kids have never been a national politics issue. As soon as Karen thinks her kids are uncomfortable, a whole coalition of puffy white vest politicians found their moment. I mean, it was done. It was done deliberately. Like, they saw that as a successful way to propagandize. I mean, we know who started it. Christopher Rufo at the Manhattan Institute recognized that this was an opportunity to cut propaganda. And he does not shy away from openly admitting that that was the reason why they did it, too. Like, that's it.
Let's move forward with that. Having that knowledge to be able to kind of navigate through life is better than just, oh, well, I assume I'm the same as, you know, my white counterpart. Oh, why is she able to do this? Why does she have this opportunity that I don't have?
But they are the same.
But she has that opportunity.
They are the same, is what we're saying.
I think what the difference is, we're stating normative statements, and you guys are claiming that we're presenting prescriptive claims. So the normative statement that we're presenting is...
Bro, come on. You think that they know the difference? Come on, Mason.
These events happen in American history. These are the outcomes that have led from those events. What you guys are saying is we're then adding prescriptive statements, which is that's why you should never really try, because you'll never make it in this country.
That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that if you negatively press a child with these thoughts, that will be the outcome, because that's how human beings work. This is a psychological fact.
The quality of education is the government's job.
Oh my God! Oh
I
my
believe
God!
it is the government.
Again, fundamental disagreement with just government, the existence of government. Remember, when conservatives say like, "Oh no, that shouldn't be the government's job," like they're actually just saying there shouldn't be a government. Okay. The quicker you understand that, the quicker you grasp that, the easier everything will be. They just don't understand how it will work without it, and they just don't want it in general because they just don't understand how it would work, because it wouldn't without the government.
Job. Look, our funding comes through government. I mean, our schools are government entities. So it is. Policies are government. Everything's government. I mean, if you're in public education, you're in government. We're bureaucrats. That's literally our job. So it is government's job. So yeah, I believe it is. I believe it is the job of the government, because schools are government. That's literally what they are. They're government institutions.
Yes, I completely agree. Government provides a certain quality to education. Obviously, they haven't provided those funds, they haven't provided those policies that are pro-teacher or anything like that. So it really shows in our education, in kids, and all around. We're just not at the quality that other countries are at.
Let's see what Mason has to say. I'm interested to hear.
I was going back and forth because what a government is, you know, oftentimes is characterized as like this entity of like a group of people up there deciding what goes on. Where no, like government is just collective organization. Does the government have a role in education? Absolutely. I think that parents have to play a role as well, and you know, not only being involved with what their kid is learning in school, but also, you know, reinforcing strong educational skills. And that doesn't happen unless there is parent involvement. I know the kids that are being worked on at home versus the kids that aren't. And it plays out in test scores, it plays out in their engagement in class, and it plays out in their behavior.
You have to remember that we're a representative government, that it's based on the people, right? And so these public school systems are waiting for the parents to come in and say, this curriculum is not what I want to teach my kids. We, the taxpayers, control the curriculum. But the problem is we haven't been engaging in that system because we've been so distracted and pulled away from the education from our kids.
No, I would agree. The communities need to absolutely be more involved in their school boards and what's going on in education. And unfortunately, we don't have that. And oftentimes, a lot of politicians, albeit Republicans that are trying to cut a lot of social programs and a lot of social investment, as well as corporate Democrats who want to cut a lot of social investment. Both of those, you know, we see areas of corruption within our education system.
Well, and let's be clear on what we're talking about government is. So when we talk about on a local level, it is government. That's literally what government is. When your kid goes into the school, they're going going into a government institution. So I think when we're talking, we're not talking about parents not being involved. I want you involved. Heck, please be involved. So I think our issue, when we were talking about government, we weren't talking about excluding parents. We were talking about it is government's job to make this entity, which is public education, function. It has to. If government's not involved, you have no money.
So you guys teach in government schools, public schools. Essentially, you're teaching a
Gross.
diverse student body. You have conservatives, you have liberals. How can you better represent us, half of this country? It's sadly causing us to lose faith in you guys. We want to support you guys. We want to send our kids to your schools and your classrooms.
And I think that when we talk about all these differences, how do we sort of represent both?
How can we better? Oh my God, I love that. That's fire, dude. First of all, the notion that like half of the country is conservative is a silly one. It's not true. Okay? Not true. Or like Republicans or something. Not true. Secondly, like it doesn't matter. Like if the demonstration of your values revolves around like, I don't know, shitting on certain subsects and certain demographics of students, then you don't get representation in that matter. Okay? You don't go to Applebee's and you're like, I'm sorry. Literally, Applebee's needs to only serve vegan food. Okay? That's crazy. Like your interests cannot be exclusive to others. Your interests and your wants cannot inherently exclude other people. That's crazy. Your political worldview and the demonstration of your politics revolves around oppressing people. If that's the case, then shut the fuck up. You're not going to get that kind of representation. They're like, why don't you represent my diverse interests, which literally revolve around eliminating diversity? That's insane. Like, anyone could say that. Okay, well, my interests are fucking, the evisceration of white families in schools, okay? I don't want any white children going to school anymore. Like, if I say that, I'm insane, right? Obviously. And now I know a lot of people in the chat are going to say, oh, base. But like, yeah, I knew it. You guys are so predictable, you fucking sheep. Okay? God damn, you're so fucking predictable. It's dumb how predictable you are. Okay? But that's insane. Of course, that's not going to be demonstrated in policy. That's not going to be demonstrated in schools. Like the Kenyan said it best. Like I'm not here for your 7 kids. I'm here for 290 other kids. Okay, I'm here for everybody. I'm a teacher. I'm teaching everyone, not just your fucking child. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Just like I'm here for the subscribed at the top of the hour. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. If you no longer want to see those fucking ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free. Okay? You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. Like, So Hey Bozo, who just gifted 5 get the subs, allowing 5 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the fucking hour, dude. As a subscriber, I don't want any non-subscribers to be represented in the chat. Yeah, that's right, dude. Going forward, we're just going to put it in a subscription-only mode, baby. By the way, here's the 1-minute ad break now.
Both of these sides, right? How do we bring these people together? I think it's also really important to remember that historically, this curriculum is one-sided in favor of conservative views, in favor of supporting white students, not students of color, right? And so I think that we really, as a country, need to take a look at our education system. I think we can all agree that there needs to be a lot of change in the system, right? And look at how we can build a system that represents, reflects, validates the experiences and identities of everybody.
Beautiful. That was good, girl.
Man, that was hard as fuck to watch, dude. That was hard as... Chat got classes real fast. Fuck yeah, baby. That's right. That's the real ism.